A maintenance. The next question, sorry, is there a maintenance program? I'm worried I'll regain the weight if I stop the medication. So there's two questions here. So will I regain the weight when I stop the medication? And we get asked this a lot. And the answer is no, if along your journey of losing weight and taking the medication, you make the changes and you take the steps to adjust what you're eating. So change the food you're eating, learn about portion control a little bit more, find out about how much is the right amount to eat, and institute changes, moving a little bit more, changing your mindset. If you make those changes as you go alongside your weight loss program, and you institute those to become part of your lifestyle, then no, you shouldn't regain your weight, because you should keep those changes going. If you've through your weight loss program you've changed what you eat, then that's brilliant. Maybe you started moving a bit more. Maybe at first when we lose weight, sometimes it can feel really hard, especially we can feel like we're lacking a bit of energy. And as you go and as you gain a little bit of confidence and you gain a bit more energy, people often pick up a form of exercise. Now that's not running a marathon, that can be any form, just even walking that they enjoy, hitting that 10,000 steps every day, keeping that up afterwards. All those positive changes that you make should help you keep that weight off. And that's what we love to do at the Slimming Clinic. We love to prescribe you the medication, but we love to put all of that change around side the medication to make sure again, that's how you get your best results, by putting that all together. We see it time after time with patients. We see it time after time in clinical studies where there's that behavioral therapy or behavioral change alongside a medication. People do get really good results and long lasting results. Now, to say, is there a maintenance program? So with these medications, obviously they're relatively new to market, so there aren't people who've been on them for years and years and years. But what we know is that each of them have a level of license for maintenance for a different amount of time. So you can use the medication to help maintain weight for a while. And sometimes the doses might differ there. So you might be on the highest dose when you're losing weight, and you might come down to a lower dose when you're maintaining, to kind of start to reduce the amount of medication in your system. But there is a level of maintenance dose. Now it depends on you, it depends on your weight at the time. The key is that what the overall aim is to make sure as you get towards a healthy BMI or your goal weight, is that we don't use the medication to take your weight too low. And that's where the conversation around stopping medication starts to come. When you're in that lovely healthy BMI or where you want to be, it's about, when do we start reducing the dose? When do we start thinking about stopping? So it's not a case of, right, you've hit your goal, right, that's it, off you go, cold turkey now, no drug tomorrow and good luck. It is about going through that period of maintenance, adjusting the dose, starting to see how things go when you're taking a little bit less medication. Do you feel in control? And all of that it comes as part of the care we offer at the Slimming Clinic. And alongside what we've discussed at the beginning about accessing the medication, you can absolutely find ways to access the medication and take it. And if you just take the medication, you will still achieve weight loss, even if all you do at the start is just eat less of what you're eating now. Inevitably, with the simple science of weight loss, and I say simple science because it is not simple, and I fully appreciate that, but if you're taking in a bit less than you're burning, you will lose some weight. But what we do at the Slimming Clinic, and we feel so important, is, like I've said, putting all of that together. So again, if you've just been taking this medication on your own without really any support, and you get to the end of it, it's hard sometimes to know where to go, how to make those good changes. And we have we've a fantastic dietitian on our team who loves to work with people about really getting into the nitty gritty of making those food changes. And certainly isn't there to chastise you as to what you're eating now. It doesn't matter what you're eating now. What matters is what we're going to what you're going to change, and that fits your lifestyle as well. We've all got to be realistic about how we live, the family at home, and things like that. No one's going to expect you to be cooking yourself a separate dinner than the rest of your family. So there's lots of ways to make sure that you put all that together to get your best results. So by no means do we sort of leave you out there to regain your weight when you get to the end of your journey. And it's a great time to be excited. People worry about that. I'm like, gosh, wow, great would that be to worry about when you're at that goal weight, when you've got where you want to be. Let's worry about it when we get there, but let's really celebrate getting there, especially if it's been something you've been trying to get to for a long time. It's a real achievement. You should be really proud of yourself. The medication helps, but you are doing the work. So absolutely.